90s, in the early 90s, I was in the advertising field and I was headhunted by Tayer Group. At the time, they were opening the first Bulgari store in the Middle East, number 18 worldwide. So when we opened our Bulgari store, it became a reference in the market. I was given the opportunity to also manage the Armani boutique, the first again in the Middle East. And Mall of the Future was about transforming the malls into lifestyle destinations rather than just shopping destinations. I was naturally born, I think, as a leader. I'm an Aquarian. I set very high standards for myself and I set the same standards for the people around me. If you don't have an eye for detail, don't get into this business because retail is about detail and luxury even more so.
I'm Carlo Pignataro, and this is a new episode of Lux and Friends. Today, we have an extraordinary guest whose journey through the luxury and retail industry is nothing short of inspirational. Shireen El Khatib, a name synonymous with pioneering luxury retail in the Middle East, joins us. From managing the first Bulgari store in Dubai in 1993 to leading the charge at Tayer Insignia and Majid Al Futtaim shopping malls, Shireen has been a key architect in transforming Dubai into a global luxury destination. With over 25 years of experience, she has not only modernized retail in the region, but also shattered the glass ceilings in a male-dominated industry and culture. Her story is one of vision, resilience, and unparalleled leadership. In this episode, we delve into the evolution of luxury retail in the Middle East, the challenges of leading in a male-dominated world, and her visionary approach to leadership. We'll also explore her personal journey, values, and what the future holds for this trailblazer. So, whether you're passionate about luxury retail, leadership, or simply love a great success story, stay tuned. You won't want to miss a moment of this insightful conversation with Shireen El Khatib. Shireen, thank you for being with me on Lux and Friends.
Pleasure, Carlo. Thank you for inviting me.
I have to make a confession.
Tell me.
I'm not usually and not easily starstruck because of what I do. But today, I am for two reasons. And let me tell you what they are.
Tell me.
The first one, I haven't seen you in a long time.
I know.
And you are the one who gave me the opportunity a couple of decades ago, literally, to call Dubai home. And ever since, I can call home this incredible city. And the second reason, which I guess is going to be of interest of our audience, is because you are one of a few who really transformed this city in the desert in what today the whole world agrees is one of the world's greatest luxury destinations.
Absolutely. Yes.
So, shall we delve into your story?
Please.
How did you start this journey and what happened? How did Dubai and people like you transformed it in such a luxury capital?
Okay. So back in the 90s, in the early 90s, I was in the advertising field and I was headhunted by Tayer Group. At the time, they were opening the first Bulgari store in the Middle East, number 18 worldwide. And I joined them to run the Bulgari store. Obviously, retail was new to me. And just because I like to do everything properly, if I'm passionate about it, I loved the idea because Bulgari resonated with me for a very funny reason. When I went to university in Paris and I used to run away from certain classes to go and sit at cafes on the Champs-Élysées, I used to pass by Avenue Montaigne and I used to pass by the Bulgari store, which was part of the Plaza Athénée hotel. And I always looked at the brand and looked at the windows, and it meant something to me.
Okay.
A few years later, I was headhunted to run the first Bulgari store, so I got excited about it and decided I want to do a great job out of it. And that's what really happened. I went on a training for almost a month and a half to Bulgari in Rome and in Switzerland. And I literally video filmed every part of the training because I wanted to make sure that when I go back to Dubai, I implement everything I learned and that I translate the standards of the brand the way they want it to be. And that is what really put Dubai on its first step to luxury retail in the world. It is somebody, not me, obviously with the support of my company, and my boss at the time, who also believed in luxury and in international standards. So I implemented everything, managed the store different to the way international brands were being managed in this market. And we stood out in the crowd. It wasn't a very big crowd. There were very, very few franchise stores at the time. And unfortunately, they were poorly managed. So when we opened our Bulgari store, it became a reference in the market. And it also became a reference to the international brands outside Dubai who wanted to enter Dubai, in the sense that everyone said Tayer knows how to manage brands well, Tayer knows how to translate international standards, etc.
What was the landscape at the time? Who was there and who wasn't there yet?
There were multi-brand boutiques that housed a lot of French and Italian labels. In terms of franchise stores, there were only two. There was Max Mara and there was Versace.
Wow.
There were a handful in Abu Dhabi. But I mean, the staff were not in uniforms. The visual merchandising standards weren't great. There wasn't a fixed pricing policy. So really the image of luxury then was not really projected. It's when we opened Bulgari and we respected the pricing, and our staff were wearing the Bulgari uniforms. The stores were pristine. We had a full collection in stock. You name it. I mean, we were able to offer the experience that the luxury customer looked for then in those days in a market like Dubai.
Wow. And what happened next?
What happened next is that less than a year later, Tayer acquired the franchise of Giorgio Armani. And I was given the opportunity to also manage the Armani boutique, the first again in the Middle East. And after that, the ball started rolling between Bulgari and Armani. And the great job we did as Tayer Group and myself as the manager of the two stores, other brands came to us. Or when we went to pitch for brands, it was very easy to acquire the franchise because of the track record we have with Bulgari and Armani. For any Italian or French brand, it was like, if this group is managing a Bulgari boutique and an Armani boutique, it means they're capable of doing it right. So we got Dolce Gabbana after that, again, the first store in the Middle East. And then we got, other than the other Armani labels, we opened Emporio Armani in Abu Dhabi. We opened Bulgari in Abu Dhabi. We started to expand with what we had in our portfolio. And then we acquired the franchise for Gucci in 1999. And then the ball started really rolling since then, until a few years later, I found myself managing almost 33 brands. Yeah. But the turning point in my retail career was in 2006, when I opened the first Harvey Nichols store it wasn't the first in the region, actually. Riyadh was open, but ours was the largest outside the UK, and this was in Mall of the Emirates. 4 years later, I opened the first Bloomingdale's store outside the US and the home store for Bloomingdale's, also in the same mall, Dubai Mall.
Wow, and the list is longer. But before we continue, you have a track list of first stores in the Middle East. What was the main challenge you encountered in opening the first store in the Middle East of those European brands, mainly European brands, that had their own mentality, standards, expectations, and so forth? I don't think it was a walk in the park, was it?
No, it wasn't a walk in the park, absolutely not. From the brand's perspective, it was their worry and concern that a local partner will not respect the international standards and the image they want to project to the customer. But in that sense, I think between myself and my standards and the fact that I'm a bit OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, which helps in luxury retail because it's a lot of paying attention to detail.
Indeed.
And Altayer's group respect for the way they do business, I don't think that concern was valid with the brands. The difficulties were in the market locally. Like, for example, when we had to fit out the stores, there was a lot of material that had never been used in this market before. A lot of techniques in working with wood, with marble, etc., with paint, that workshops here or joineries had not experienced before. So we had to fly in workers from Europe to help the workers in Dubai achieve a certain something in terms of stucco paint or a certain way of working with the wood, mixing two types of wood in a special way, etc. And the other difficulty was the people, training the teams in the stores, the sales teams. These were people who would be hearing of the brand name the first time in their lives, unlike people who work as sales in Europe, where they are brought up to know what that brand is. They walk past the stores. It's part of their culture. They understand what it is. They look up to it, etc. Here we were hiring people to sell a Bulgari product or to sell an Armani garment who probably never heard about these brand names before.
Wow.
So that was a tough part, really making people understand the DNA of the brand, making people appreciate the brand they're representing, and making them understand that there is a certain level of customer experience to be offered for us to succeed in managing the store and managing the brand.
And before we continue, because the list is still longer, I want to freeze a moment in time. When you were starting this new venture, so to speak, would you ever imagine that Dubai would have become such a luxury destination?
No, I would have never imagined.
No.
I wouldn't have thought that every single brand that exists in the world is represented in Dubai. It was back in those days, I was thinking maybe a few more boutiques and then that would make Dubai a bit more special, etc. But with the efforts that the government put in and the shopping festival and all the construction of the new big malls, super regional malls, and the way the tourism was encouraged by the government, this all made Dubai become an important destination and made the brands eye the city, that it is the launchpad for the Middle East. It was no longer Riyadh or Kuwait, because Riyadh and Kuwait had luxury brands represented before the 90s in the region. However, as I mentioned before, probably not so well managed, but Dubai really took over because of different factors. Tourism, the emergence of shopping malls, the international brands being properly run in terms of stores. This all played an important role.
Is there a turning point, in your opinion, in Dubai's history? A moment in time where we say, yes, now Dubai has really taken off as a luxury destination, global luxury destination.
Yes, I think it was the opening of Mall of the Emirates and the luxury extension of Barjuman. Unfortunately, the luxury extension of Barjuman never took off because Mall of the Emirates took over, for the simple reason that the city of Dubai was moving south.
Yes.
And Mall of the Emirates opened in the right neighborhood at the time. And prior to that, we at Tayer Group created a luxury shopping destination in Emirates Towers, long before those two malls were open. And it was a transitional step, I would say, when we saw that the city is moving south. Because with the opening of Burj Al Arab in 1999, if I'm not mistaken, and Emirates Towers in 2000, things started to happen in southern Dubai and to shift and move away from Deira. So Emirates Towers was a transitional period for luxury retail. And a few years later, Mall of the Emirates was inaugurated and the Barjuman luxury extension was launched.
I remember those days. Those were my first days here.
Yeah.
Exciting times, indeed.
Yeah.
So let's continue with your personal story. And then, what happened? So you opened Harvey Nichols, Bloomingdale's. What's next?
And then I left Tayer Group for personal reasons.
All right.
And then I relocated, actually. I lived in Doha for a few years. And then I came back and I joined Majid Al Futtaim.
Okay.
So for Majid Al Futtaim, I managed their high street fashion and home retail for 3 years. And then after that, I was appointed CEO of the largest business in Majid Al Futtaim Group, which is the shopping malls.
The shopping malls. And for the audience, the people in the audience who may not be familiar with Majid Al Futtaim, is one of the largest conglomerates here in the UAE.
In the region.
In the region. Yes. And operator of how many shopping malls?
So I was in charge of 29 shopping malls in 5 countries. Yes. We had malls in Egypt and Oman. We had 1 mall in Bahrain and 1 in Beirut, and the rest were in the United Arab Emirates.
And what's the average size of one of these malls?
They varied. The portfolio varied between super regional malls and community malls.
Okay.
Yes.
So, You started this venture with Majid Al Futtaim. How did it go? What did you do? What kind of experience
it was
was
a bit tough in the beginning because I had moved from retail, yet I was handling a responsibility that is linked to retail through the shopping malls. I became a representative of a landlord rather than a tenant. So, which gave me a good perspective because I knew what tenants expect. I knew what they're looking for, and it actually made our company be more responsive to what tenants require. So it added an angle to the way we do things. And obviously, with my luxury retail experience, standards were important. So we also added this dimension in the way we do things. And it was an enjoyable trip. The thing is, it was a bit demanding in the beginning because as soon as I joined shopping malls, COVID hit. So while I was still trying to learn the ins and outs of the industry, what happened is I had to basically firefight and deal with all the unhappy tenants who wanted rent-free periods, who were panicking, customers who don't want to go shopping. So we had to come up with solutions of at your doorstep, for example, which was a digital solution where they would order their stuff, it would get delivered, and what have you. And then we lived a period where the malls actually shut down during the lockdown. So it was very, very sad to see buzzing retail destinations like Mall of the Emirates, City Center Deira, and what have you, like dark corridors, power shut down, not a single soul in the asset. It was sad times, really. But we managed to recover at the time and recover well.
That's interesting. Since you mentioned COVID, and I do think that COVID taught something to each and every one of us,
Absolutely.
in a way or in another.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying that we got out better, but we got out learning something.
Yes.
What have you learned as a retailer, as a business person from COVID?
Oh, many things. Number one is the precautions we took as shopping malls at the time made people trust us and trust our assets and want to come and visit our malls because we really respected all the guidelines given by the government at the time in terms of the number of people who can enter the mall at any given moment, all the sanitization protocols, etc. So the building trust with the consumer was very, very important, and that obviously helped us a lot. The other thing I learned is when it's a moment of panic, you need to be as accommodating and as understanding as you can be, especially with the tenants, because at that time, suddenly people were seeing their sales dropping, their profits dropping, and they saw no light at the end of the tunnel. We thought it's a matter of a few weeks, and then it dragged for months, and people were worried, concerned, and it took a lot of energy and effort for us to remain collected and calm as a management team in shopping malls to navigate through this crisis. Obviously, other things learned were it's about the humans at the end of the day before anything else. Many people in our team suffered either by contracting COVID or lost parents or loved ones because of the virus. And it was tough on us emotionally. It brought us closer because we were all fighting one enemy. It really brought people closer.
We were all fighting one enemy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's so true.
Absolutely.
Shireen, in our short conversation so far, you mentioned quite a few times the word standards.
Yes.
Define standards for Shireen El Khatib.
It's excellence. For me, it's excellence. Many people tell me you're a perfectionist. No, it's not about perfectionism.
What's the difference between excellence and perfection?
A perfectionist is, in my opinion, when it goes to the extent of getting a bit crazy about things and not accepting small deviations from the track. But excellence is really doing your best all the time to achieve the best. So
I love it.
Yeah,
doing your best all the time
to achieve the best. And you know what the best is? The best
It's a
is
work in
given to
progress.
you. Is given to you in the retail industry, for example, is given to you as guidelines. What are the do's? What are the don'ts? And how do you translate a certain vision, a certain image, etc. So doing your best to achieve that is excellence, obviously, and not accepting any less than the bar you set for yourself.
Okay.
And every time you reach the bar, you raise the bar for yourself. This is excellence. Being perfectionist, I think, is. I think we need a psychologist to define that.
Okay, there's no
in better
psychologist as far
words.
as I know in this room
Yeah,
today.
yeah.
So, do you see yourself more as a retailer or as a luxury professional? Obviously, the two things are merged.
Yes.
But you have those two sides of
I'm
the
a
coin.
retailer.
You
I'm
are
a
a retailer.
Yeah, because the standards I talk about are not just to be implemented in luxury. You implement them anywhere in the retail domain. You know, a customer is a customer, an expected experience is an expected experience, and a service is a service. So
Indeed.
whether you're selling chocolates or you're selling a mass market product or you're selling Dior or LV, the customer does have expectations, and it's their right to have these expectations. And as a retailer, you need to deliver them.
I'd love to discuss the future of retail with you, but I don't want to interrupt the flow of our story. So now you're managing 26 shopping malls across the region.
29.
29.
I am no longer
I
managing
apologize.
them.
So yeah, I mean now in
Yes,
this
yes.
moment in the story that
Yes,
we are narrating.
yes.
So what's happening? You're managing those 29 malls. COVID has passed.
Yes.
What's next?
It was about launching Mall of the Future concept. And Mall of the Future was about transforming the malls into lifestyle destinations rather than just shopping destinations. So it was about infusing experiences and services alongside the products that are available for sale. So what we started to do at the time, and this was short before I left Majid Al Futtaim, was to start creating points or elements that elevate the experience in the shopping malls. So things like, for example, luxury customer lounges in Mall of the Emirates, more entertainment. We started to look at wellness concepts. We started to look at more F&B, especially for the homegrown brands, you know, from the region or from UAE, rather than the international food chains. So it was about working to revisit the tenant mix and see what is it that we're missing, in which category, and does it answer the recent consumer trends based on the research we conducted or not. And we were working on filling the gaps. That was one thing. The other thing was about creating innovative concepts and exceeding the expectations. So on the one hand, we were filling gaps, and on the other hand, we were thinking about the future. What does the customer want tomorrow, next year, and in 5 years?
What does a customer want tomorrow, next year, and the next 5 years?
Well, when you look at the young generation, there's a lot that they want, and digitization was one thing we had to seriously look at because people were looking at more of digital experiences, a seamless sort of link between the physical and the digital. Sustainability was a very important element. People paid attention to that. They became conscious and aware of sustainability, and they really sort of appreciated products that were sustainable and brands that were conscious about the environment, about labor force, about women, equality, etc. So all of that was stuff we looked at: sustainability, digitization, and what have you.
I have an impression, Shireen, and please tell me what you think about it. Having conducted so many episodes of Lux and Friends where we have discussed the most diverse topics, from artificial intelligence with one of the world's greatest writers about it, Callum Chase. I remember speaking about the metaverse in 2019. Before anybody, at least in our industry, would even know what a metaverse is, with Jean-Claude Laprunière, who did the special effects for Life of Pi and all these blockbusters. So, but I have this impression about retail that, of course, we are going towards innovation, robots, artificial intelligence, virtual reality, you name it. So futuristic things will happen into these shopping centers, so to speak. But I also feel, and this is where I'm not sure about it, but I have a strong feeling that people also want some sort of the old, round-the-corner retail experience where they know you. And maybe they know also who you are as a family member, and they ask you, how are you today?
Yeah.
Are those two things merging, in your opinion, in terms of needs?
Well, I have an opinion about this subject.
I want to hear.
Yes. So I don't believe in this metaverse thing, although
Okay.
it's a reality now and it's happening. But I'm not going to be one of those people who will buy a Gucci bag for I don't know how many $1,000 for my avatar to wear it. I am very much old school in that sense.
You want to touch it.
I want to touch it. I want to know the person who's selling it to me. I want human interaction and I want to feel things that are real. I accept digitization to a certain extent, which is being able to shop online, having all the information at your fingertips, being able to browse the net. All this is fantastic. But for robots to take over and to start eliminating humans year after year, I'm totally against this. And I don't see why we're doing it.
And a retail that speaks more to the human side of people, so remembering them more,
Absolutely.
making them feel
Absolutely.
more at home.
Absolutely. It's like when you walk into the boutique of your favorite brand and the team in the store knows you and they address you by name and they stay connected with you and they are in touch when it's your birthday, when it's another occasion, etc. This all plays a big part of the emotional benefit that the luxury product or luxury goods mean to a person.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
So, you have left Majid Al Futtaim.
Yes.
What happened next?
I have been consulting since then.
Okay.
Yes. So now I feel it's time to profit from the name I built for myself in the industry. So I have a number of clients. Some are brands, some are designers, and I offer them my advisory services.
Okay, so what are you doing for them?
So it's in some cases it is opening up retail doors for some brands, and some other cases it is helping them restructure their collections, put in a proper pricing policy, give them tips on how they go about their marketing, etc. So
quite a diverse...
different services. And some of my customers, my clients, I mean, are not brands or designers, something totally different. One of my clients is a London-based branding and design agency, and I help them with their business development in the region.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Shireen, you have managed quite a few people in your career.
Yes.
How many people did you manage at the let's say, top of your career?
I would say
Headcount.
dozens. No, I mean, when I left...
You were at the...
when I started with Tayer Group as a store manager for Bulgari, I had 3 people in my team.
Yes.
But when I left as a CEO, 19 years later, I had 1,400 people in my team. And then in Majid Al Futtaim, in shopping malls, I had around 900 people in the team. Yeah.
Yes. I got to know you as the CEO.
Yes.
Of Tayer, that then became Tayer Insignia.
Yes.
So I've always seen you as a CEO managing many people with a very unique style. And I want to discuss leadership with you. I'd like to discuss leadership with you for a few reasons. The first one, because as I said, I do think that you have a very unique leadership style. The second is because we are in a male-dominated world, be it industry, culture, but we are in a male-dominated world. And boy, did you make a difference in this male-dominated world. So what brought you to such high leadership positions? What were the challenges and the opportunities that you were able to grab?
Okay, so I guess one of the reasons for my success in being a leader is actually my personality. I was naturally born, I think, as a leader. I'm an Aquarian, and Aquarians are known to be leaders. So that was the first reason for my success. The second reason was my experiences in life and being very humane and understanding that people need to have a purpose, people need to feel happy to be able to deliver and be productive. So, and on the other hand, as I mentioned earlier, I set very high standards for myself and I set the same standards for the people around me. So, as a leader, yes, I had expectations and I was strict, but I was also a very understanding person, a very protective person in many cases. People used to refer to me as Mother Hen with my team. I just made sure that people trusted me. I earned their trust. And I knew that when they trust me, if I tell them jump, they will say how high. And
Oh, why?
that was my motto, really. It was to build trust with people, to make them understand what their role is and how important their role is in the bigger picture, and how they need to deliver, and then let them get on with it without breathing down their throat. And obviously fighting for them when they need me, protecting them, teaching them, developing them. I have mentored many, many people in my career, and until today, I still get messages from people, and I'm very proud of what they are today and where they've reached in their career. And mentoring was a form of giving for me, and I so enjoyed that. And I think that made people feel they owe you something at work, and they owe you is results, deliverables, productivity, etc.
I love the word mentoring.
Yeah.
How would you define it? Because there are several interpretations when you talk to people.
Yeah.
Who is a mentor, Shireen? And how have you been a mentor to
A
these
mentor is not a coach, not a business or life coach. A mentor is somebody who inspires, I guess, someone who listens to you, someone who can give advice, but really not tell you what to do, but help you rather reach the conclusion of what you should be doing.
Yeah.
And probably shifting your attention and have you focus on what matters in life, at work, and how you can be different, and understanding that knowledge and learning and development are what make the difference for you as an individual, making people alert about their learnings, you know. It's a lot of things, but to sum it up, mainly it is inspiring the person
Did you
in
have
front
any
of you.
mentor in your life?
Yes.
Who do you see as a mentor?
A mentor doesn't need to sit with you in a session to mentor you. Okay,
Yes.
that's one form of mentoring. But a mentor can be someone you look up to and someone who inspires you. Obaid Tayer was a mentor for me, and my other mentor in life is my sister.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't always tell her I listen to what she tells me to do in terms of advice, but she is definitely my mentor, although she's younger to me.
What makes her a mentor to you?
I
Her
look at-
common sense, or
Yeah.
what is it?
Her personality, her common sense, her intelligence. She inspires me. I'm proud of her. I respect her. So, yeah.
So you mentioned that you earned the trust of the people you manage. And what does it take for the people you manage to earn your trust? What do you look for in your collaborators, in your team members?
I look for passion and commitment and doing things right. So if people show me they have the passion and they do things wholeheartedly from A to Z, thoroughly and on time, and that they're committed and they don't look at their watch to leave because it's the office hours or what have you. I mean, these for me are signs that someone is trustworthy, because this person is available when I need them to delegate a responsibility. I know this person is going to do it right, and this person is going to do it passionately and wholeheartedly. And it's contagious. It will inspire the people around them.
Yeah, I agree. It's not always easy to find people with
No,
passion,
absolutely
because
not.
they start sometimes with passion, but then
Yeah, I
They
know.
find
And
out- yeah.
the passion either dies out, or people come to you and they are so well at what so good at what they do, but they're not passionate enough, so they lose interest very quickly. So it's about finding the passion first and then taking it from there.
taking it from there. And especially the luxury industry can be misleading in this way, because it attracts people, bling bling.
They think
but
it's
then a year or
glamorous.
two-
It's not glamorous
It's
at
not glamorous
all.
at all.
Working in it is very, very tough and demanding. Yeah.
Was it hard, or harder, if you will, for a woman to lead in this total transformation of the retail landscape of Dubai and the Middle East? Or
Okay, you mentioned it earlier, and you said a male-dominated world and stuff like that, and the industry, etc. But I honestly did not face any difficulties. I mean, I worked hard, not thinking of myself as a woman, and not thinking about this gender issue at all. I just did what I had to do, and I excelled at it. I gave it my best, and I just succeeded. I mean, I never stopped to think, oh, I'm having this problem because I'm a woman. No, I'm having this problem because this is the problem, and I need to deal with it. So, and I guess, you know, having a woman in this role For a city like Dubai back in the early 90s and the early 2000s, actually impressed people in the international playground or arena. People were like, oh, a woman or a young lady is managing this and that, and she's doing a great job. And, you know, this is in a city like Dubai, it's a local company. I think it actually impressed people and it made things easier. Yeah, yeah.
So it made things different.
Yes.
In a way.
Yes, yes.
Yes. What was the highest point in your career, in your opinion, so far? The moment you remember with the greatest enthusiasm, so to speak.
Actually, it's quite recent. It was in Majid Al Futtaim because when I was hired to manage Majid Al Futtaim Fashion, then known as Fashion, it is now Majid Al Futtaim Lifestyle. It was the smallest business in the group and it was loss making. And my mandate was to transform the business and turn it into a profit making business. 3 years into that, I was appointed CEO of the largest business in the group. So for me, this was like a huge testimony to my success and my leadership abilities and my capability in transforming a business.
How did you feel?
It felt great. It felt great, but unfortunately, I'm not the type who stops and celebrates for too long. I celebrated for a day or two between me and myself, and then I moved on to deal with the next responsibility.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And then COVID hit.
And then COVID hit.
Yeah.
Thank you, universe.
Yes.
What was the lowest point? The day where you said, I don't know, what shall I do? I don't see a way out professionally.
Oh, there are many low points, because life is about ups and downs, obviously. And such a long career of 35 years. Yeah. Can't remember a specific one now, but what comes to mind is when the competition were trying to block us from leasing space in the Villaggio Mall in Doha for our brands. And were racing with us to acquire certain franchises for the Qatari market. I remember that was a very low point and I took it too much to heart. I took it personal that I remember myself weeping about it. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That's how passionate about the business I was.
Why did you take it personal?
Because I felt it is the success of our group is at stake. My success as a leader, leading the retail business is at stake. It felt like there's no way out of this. I mean, they're using certain things to get their own way that I could not use, and I cannot elaborate on that.
Okay.
But they had something I don't have, and I wouldn't want to have or use in doing business. Yeah.
Speaking of the future of this region.
Yes.
Well, you said you would have never imagined Dubai, and I would say the Gulf, would have gone so far in becoming such a destination. But I guess most of the world wouldn't expect this to become what it has become. What's the future for Dubai and for the rest of the region? In your opinion, what do you see?
The future for Dubai, I would say, given the track record of Dubai in doing everything right and everything is well calculated and doing things in a very neat and exclusive manner, I think things would only get better. Definitely the city will get bigger. We're going to have more hotels. We're going to have more shopping malls. We're going to have more residential communities. So Dubai will look like Dubai today, but bigger and better. And I don't know what the government will surprise us with in terms of special projects that have the superlative adjective, which is tallest, biggest, newest, best, whatever. So this is for Dubai. For the region, I think that Dubai is an example that the region looks at and wants to follow. They don't follow everything Dubai has done. They're probably picking and choosing, trying to get to part of what Dubai has achieved. Some are being successful, some are not. They're trying, and they are maybe failing, and they're trying again. But definitely the future of the region is prosperous, I would say. There is money in the region, and there is now the exposure thanks to technology, digitization, and the so well-traveled people all over the region, and obviously the young generation that is going to make a difference.
Yes. What's your take on Saudi Arabia?
My take on Saudi Arabia, I think they have fantastic plans. Their vision is amazing, and I think they're on the right track. And what they have achieved so far is revolutionary.
Yes.
So I think they have a promising future.
Do you see them becoming the next Dubai?
I wouldn't want to say the next Dubai. Dubai is Dubai. Riyadh is
Dubai.
Riyadh. Jeddah is Jeddah, you know. Jeddah has the Red Sea. Dubai doesn't have the Red Sea, you know. So you can't really say the next Dubai.
At a personal level, what triggers your imagination? What excites you? What do you love doing besides your passion for business?
I love music. I love listening to music. And not that it triggers my imagination. What triggers my imagination is interiors, actually. I love spaces. I love putting together spaces. I love working with objects in a space. And that is one of the reasons why I wanted to work on the concept store that in Mall of the Emirates,
Okay.
where I played a very big role in what goes into that store in terms of components, not just the product or the services, but the way the walls looked like, the rugs looked like, the rooms, the spaces, etc., and the art that has gone into
Would you like to describe it a little bit for the people who don't know it yet?
Yeah. So that concept store is a platform, is a retail platform in Mall of the Emirates. It's around 4,000 square meters. It is a destination for shopping, but at the same time, it offers a number of experiences and services. When I say services, it's things like a hair salon, it's a nail spa, it's a shoe and handbag repair studio. And when I say experiences, there's F&B, there is a space for a yoga studio, and then you have all your shopping that is offered there. And things are done in a quirky way. There's a lot of art on the walls, some done by disabled children, some done by renowned local artists, and some are images from the Middle Eastern culture. So the space is very unique in terms of size. There are a lot of concept stores, multi-brand concept stores in the region. However, I think that would be the largest in terms of footprint and the number of departments and the quirkiness to it. So it's a space full of colors and music and, you know, a surprise around every corner, etc. So that is that. So we go back to what triggers my imagination. So it's working with interiors and, to be specific, putting together a space. I also love cooking.
Okay. What type of food?
Italian, Middle Eastern, and
interesting.
Indian. Yeah, these are the three cuisines I'm good at. And I love cooking and feeding my friends. It's a passion for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what gets on your nerves? What pisses you off?
Stupidity.
Define stupidity.
It's when you're talking to someone and they tell you they heard you and then they don't do what you ask them to do, or when you're talking to someone and they don't get what you're trying to say, although you're being very articulate and you're explaining yourself very well and they just don't get it. This gets on my nerves.
That gets on your nerves. As we are heading towards the end of this, my opinion, very interesting conversation. I thoroughly enjoyed it so far. There are many people who are listening to us or watching us on YouTube, and I know that they either started their career in the luxury retail industry or they would love to. What are your recommendations, suggestions, tips?
First of all, if you don't love it, don't do it, because it's very demanding. And at times it can drain you, especially when dealing with either a difficult brand or a difficult customer. Number two is, if you don't have an eye for detail, don't get into this business, because retail is about detail and luxury even more so. So having an eye for detail is very, very important. These are the two most important things in my opinion.
And if you were to leave one last message to an audience that is now watching you, what would this be?
So my message to everyone seeing this and listening to this podcast is, remember, we are humans. Be as human as you can. And this is a bigger message beyond retail and beyond luxury. It's for mankind. It's for the whole world. being human is very, very important.
I couldn't agree more. Shireen, thank you very much for being on Lux and Friends.
Thank you, Carlo. Pleasure.